you're watching this video, you probably want to stay consistent on YouTube and you have a busy life. And a lot of times we might think it's because we're lazy or we're just not doing the things that we need to do. But the reality is that between work and family and everything else that you have going on in your life, it's hard to find the time to be consistent on YouTube. So today I want to talk about a few of the things that you can do to get that consistency. All right, the first thing that I'm going to talk about is reframing the problem. So when you're busy, your brain treats video creation kind of like an optional task, not really a normal part of life. So you have to understand that that's just the natural nature. And the reality is if you're not doing it full time, you're not making money off it, it is optional, right? It's not something that you have to do. So you have to recognize and reframe that, right? So you can't force motivation every week. You have to design a predictability into your process. You have to understand when you can work on these projects, when you can work on these videos, and when you can't. So one of the questions I like to ask myself is, what would make this easier to repeat every single week? What would make this easier for me to do this every single week? And so when you answer that question, it gives you a glimpse into how you can make it work and how you can be consistent even with a busy schedule. So systems create consistency. I think everybody has to define their own system. There's a lot of creatives out there that are preaching or teaching, hey, this is my system. It works for everything. If you just use this system, you'll be consistent and you'll grow. That's BS. I don't agree with it. I think everybody has to define their own system. Everybody's lives are so different and have so many different things that they have to do, but also things that are important to them, right? So everybody's family is different, everybody's job's different, all that kind of stuff. You need to define your own system. And when you do that, you can create consistency. Okay, so let's talk about what a practical system really looks like. So this is the simplify and stack framework. This is kind of just something that can help you define that system. First thing of the framework is simplify the process. So cut your workflow in half. Okay, so find ways to make filming the video. We talked about that in the last video about how you can film more professionally, but making the setup simple. So find ways to simplify that and cut the time in half that you have to shoot and set up. I did another video on editing and cutting the editing time down. So find a way to remove time from editing. You can use reoccurring video formats. So if you're doing a talking head and it has a specific format to here's the, top 3 things here or whatever, and that makes it more repeatable and easier. Find those and use those. Film multiple videos in one setup. So for instance, that's called batching. I don't think batching is for everybody, but if you are setting up every time that you film, then I think batching is a good thing. Like for instance, right now I'm filming 5 videos this morning here because I set up once and then I film 5 different videos and then I tear down all at once. So that saves time for me to have to keep resetting everything and getting everything ready and tearing it back down. And then, like I said, using the 4-pass system I talked about in the other video, the editing, in 3-hour video. So using those editing passes can also cut down on time. As I'll always say, consistency dies in complexity. We don't want complex things. We definitely don't want complex systems. Consistency will die there. So try to simplify. The second thing of this framework is stack the habit. So tie video work to something that already happens in your week. Think about the days of the week. What days do you have open? Do you take your lunch break here and you have a little bit extra time on your lunch break? Do you have a post-work routine, the way when you come home, is there some space you can do it there? For example, for me, I work a different schedule. So Fridays and Saturdays are the days that I have off. So Friday morning has become this time where I film this stuff. So that's just the natural flow of it. Is I work every weekday. I wake up on Friday, get the kids to school, but then I have a moment there that after we get the kids to school, there is time for me to film. So I kind of attach it to that. That's just my time to film. And so because it's already in the rhythm, it's already a part of the week, and I'm attaching it to something else that I already do in the week, it makes it really easy for me to stay consistent in it. The goal here is one predictable creation slot. So not 10 random ones. When I first started, there was a lot of times I'd film a video film a video at night and then another day somewhere, else, or like, it just kind of ebbed and flowed and wasn't consistent. That was hard to get videos out on time and hard to develop what videos I wanted to do. So now I do that all on Friday. I batch film. I try to make it as consistent as I can. The third part of the framework is to automate the decisions. And I talked about this a few times, but we want to pre-plan the video ideas, right? So obviously the next video you want to pre-plan before you actually film. You want to keep templates ready. So descriptions or like thumbnail style. Like I have a thumbnail Photoshop file that I use as a default every single time I make a thumbnail. The same folder structure, the same editing template and project. All those templates are the same and ready to go. So you want to keep that there so that it automates all the decisions. I don't have to think about that. And then you want to, remove every friction point. The more you can remove those, the more weeks you'll be consistent in a row. So the less friction, the more consistent. That's how you look at this. So if I could give you one takeaway from the framework, if you make your process lighter, your creativity lasts longer. So if it's less of a weight of the process and the system, then the more creativity and energy and passion you can put into your videos. Okay, so I want to also make a mindset shift, which is basically consistency is not equal to getting a video up every week. It's not the same thing. You got to redefine consistency as a repeatable rhythm that you can sustain, not perfection. Okay, so don't look at every video and everything you do on your channel and everything you do in your business as consistency equals I put this out on every Tuesday and I put, it's about the repeatable rhythm that you can sustain. So you got to figure out what you can sustain and what you can't. If your system can survive your busiest week, then you found your rhythm. So try to shoot for and think about what your craziest, busiest week would be with family and work and everything else that you have to do, and find a rhythm that fits within that where you can be consistent in that. And then every week will be consistent, right? Because that's the baseline. That's the hardest week you would have. So you can be consistent in every other week. And then sometimes posting every other week with clarity beats burning out and posting weekly. So don't be afraid to post every other week or post less than once a week. If you're building it with creativity and clarity in what you're doing and why you're doing it, then that's going to turn out better than just trying to cram out a video every single week. If you're looking for a community to support you in this and for help to ask questions or to get feedback, join the Creator Lab community. Link in the description below. It's a free community with creators just like you trying to build something on YouTube and grow a business and get out of their 9-to-5 and do whatever they want with their YouTube channel. So jump over there. And if you're looking to make your videos a little more professional, if you're trying to figure out how to make them look and feel a little bit more professional, watch this video over here where I talk about some of the ways that you can do that even with less gear and cheaper gear. So don't worry about that. Just check out that video and I'll see you over there.